Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tutorials of Tone. My name is Alex. Thank you so much for watching this video. What we're talking about today, the ultimate hit by Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. Now, while I won't be playing that guitar center banning intro riff, I will be going through all of the tones, plenty of examples, and we'll show you how to get the most out of your unit, whether you're on the Axe FX3, the FM9, or the FM3, and whether or not you're using a piezo-laden guitar like this Man JP15, or a guitar that only has magnetic pickups. Let's dive right in. So first up, we have our acoustic sound. Out of a piezo-laden guitar like this, I'm running an XY cable, TRS to dual mono. Into input 2, I run the piezo signal. For this particular example, since it is a very light, delicate finger-picking thing, I have the output level set to -10 dB, as opposed to the usual -13.5 that I run when a compressor is engaged. And you will note that our gate is turned off. Running into a Studio FF compressor, mostly stock settings here. This is the exact same compressor that I use for Blue, my Man, when I'm running clean tones. So 63.25 milliseconds of release time, no auto makeup gain, and 6.5 dB of level. That sounds like this. A really lovely full-bodied sounding piezo coming out of this guitar. In parallel, we are running into a London plate reverb, stock settings. You gotta run into British stuff when you're covering British people, am I right? We have -15 dB on the level, but again, everything else is at stock settings here. Moving on to our overdrive signal, we will get back to the Faux 12 string. We have input block for input 1. Everything is stock except the threshold of our gate, -47.5 dB. I like having it there for my Morse Man guitars. It works well for the Man JP15 as well. For our amp, for our overdrive channel, we have a few different options that we can utilize. If we're going for the classic thing, a 1959 Super Lead is probably the way to go. Very moderate settings here. A little bit of input EQ with a 40 Hz low cut, 10K on the high cut. We are running into Leon Todd's LT TV Mix 7, but we also have the option to switch over to a pair of stock Marshall cabs, which I personally use live. This is a 1960A blended with a 1960B. We have an 80 Hz low cut here, and 8500 Hz high cut. So, let's hear what this overdrive sounds like with LT TV Mix 7 and the Super Lead. We are now going to switch over to our stock Marshall cabs. As you can hear, quite a difference. Choose to your preference. You just set Scene Ignore for cabs A and B. You select on the gig even, if you'd like. Or you could select one for lead, one for overdrive. Doesn't matter. We also have the option of running a more modern amp, the JCM 800, the Brit 800, into the LT TV Mix 7. That sounds like this. And going into our 1960 cabs. We also have some options in V2. The only difference between V1 and V2 is our amp choice. For V2, I'm utilizing the same amps that I did for Carry On Wayward Son, utilizing the gapless switching. I maybe attenuated the levels a little bit to accommodate the tune, but we're running into the same pair of 1960 Marshall cabs, and this amp sounds like this. Definitely has more of a modern rock edge to it. Moving on to our lead tone, we could start with our 1959 Super Lead. All that we've done is engage the input boost. This is a neutral boost set at stock settings of 12 dB. We are again running into LT TV Mix 7, and unlike the studio recording, we are running into a digital stereo delay. The quarter note, we brought it back quite a bit just to give it a little bit of ambient fill. And of course, our lead boosting technique of 3 dB. So our lead tone with the Super Lead running into LT TV Mix 7 sounds like this. When we switch over to our pair of 1960 cabs, we get this sound. And for our final lead example, we have our Plexi 50 watt running into our pair of 1960 Marshall cabs. That sounds like this. A lot of tonal options at your fingertips for whatever you may like or need given your band situation. Now for the final piece of this equation, we have our faux 12-string sound. For our JP15 or our piezo-laden guitars, we're utilizing both signals, our magnetic and our piezo, and combining them into a faux 12-string sort of thing. So for our electric side, we're using a Super Lead, very neutral settings. And for our piezo side, we're just going straight out. We're running into an octave up with smooth pitch tracking, and our level is down to negative 27.5 dB. Bringing that level up a bit for the example, you get this. Now there are some artifacts in there, yes, but we don't have a 12-string. These are the compromises we make. When blending the signals together, you get this. Utilizing our clean from the Carry On Wayward Son preset, blending the Plexi 50 watt 6550 with our piezo-laden stream up an octave, we get this. Now, if you don't have a piezo option, say you're using a Morse Music Man guitar or anything that doesn't have a piezo in it, magnets only, we do have presets for you. On this version of the Stairway preset, our 12-string has the pitch blending in at 15% mix, just straight in line. We're using the same super lead. I am on the bridge single and humbucker. Giving us a little bit of that jangle from the 12 without having to lug the gear. And while there might be some artifacts, it's not really going to be perceived in a full band mix. We also have our overdrive dialed in with our super lead. Or our Brit 800. Both of those were running into LT TV Mix 7, but you do have the option to run those into the 1960 pair of Marshall cabs. A note that I did have to take those down 1.5 dB to accommodate all of the low end and mids that come in when bringing in these Marshall cabs. The super lead sounds like this. And the Brit 800 sounds like this. Moving on to our leads, we have the super lead. The Brit 800. Now the super lead running into the Marshall pair instead of the LT TV Mix 7. The Brit 800 running into that as well. And we also have the Carry On Wayward Son options as well. As I don't play the acoustic intro when playing in a 2-guitar band, V1 does not have that, but V2 does utilize that clean tone that we hear in the Carry On Wayward Son preset. We also have our overdrive. As well as our lead channel. Plenty of tonal options at your fingertips, whether you're playing a piezo-laden guitar, such as the JP15, a Morse Music Man, or any other magnetic-only axe. Well, that about does it for these presets. Whether you're on a piezo-laden guitar, such as the Music Man JP15, or you're on a magnetic-only axe, such as the Morse Music Man guitars, you have plenty of tonal options between your amps, your cabs, your faux 12-string sound, etc. If you enjoyed this video, there are plenty more videos throughout the channel that you can check out. Tutorials of tone, Fractal 101s, gear reviews, playthroughs, etc. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.